guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. So today I'm going to be filming my March wrap-up. Yeah, I read a lot in March actually. I read 12 books. I really had to lock in because I was behind on my Goodreads goal, but I caught up. My goal is 75 books, by the way, and I caught up because I was reading very few books at the beginning of the year. I think I read like 3 books a month, but this month I read 12, so we have fully caught up. And I'm actually 1 book ahead of schedule. So yeah, look at me, oh my god, like just doing so well, truly. Let's just get into the wrap up. I am very excited. I read 2 5-star books this month, so yeah, really excited about that. So let's just get into it. The first book I read was I Want to Die But I Want to Eat Tteokbokki by Baek Se-hee. So this book is a non-fiction book about a woman, actually the author, and she documents her visits with her psychiatrist and her therapy sessions. And then at the end of the book, she writes a few passages just based on what she learned from therapy. I really enjoyed this a lot. I don't rate nonfiction books typically. There is one that I rated in this pile though, but I usually don't rate nonfiction books, and I did not rate this book, but I really enjoyed it. I really related to the author's struggles with herself and her insecurities and her flaws. I really related to her, but I also related to the great parts of her as well. She seems like a very beautiful person, and I loved her writing so much. I think she is an incredible writer. My favorite parts of the book were when she was just writing and we really got to see her writing process and that kind of thing. I did also really enjoy the therapy sessions, but my favorite part was when we really got to see her express herself in her art form, so that was really cool. I hope that Baek Se-hee is resting in peace. I hope that she is happy wherever she is, and she was a truly beautiful person and a great writer, so yeah, enjoyed this one a lot. So yeah. The next book I read was Monster by Naoki Urasawa. This book basically follows a man who is a doctor, and he saves this young boy who was shot in the head, but what he doesn't realize is that the boy grows up to be a psychopathic serial killer. It's really good. I think it's really interesting. I really liked the art style in this book as well. It really reminded me of like old comics, which I really enjoyed. I thought that was really interesting. Yeah, really enjoyed this. I already got the 2nd volume, so I will be continuing on with this series, and I am really excited to see where the series goes. Also, there's this one drawing at the beginning of the book that freaked me the fuck out. Like, what the hell is that? What the hell is even that? That scared me so much when I was reading it. I was like, the fuck am I looking at right now? Art in this is amazing. Really love the themes of like the butterfly effect with when you save a certain person, you don't know if they'll grow up to be a serial killer. And I just thought that was really interesting. So yeah, enjoyed this one a lot, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinneman. I liked this. Yeah, I liked it. This book follows a man named Carl and his ex-girlfriend's cat, Princess Donut. And at the beginning of this book, the world basically ends, and everyone who is inside their houses at a certain time, I don't remember what time it is, I think it's like 2 a.m. Yeah, 2:23 a.m. All the houses and everything that you could be inside collapses, so only the people who are outside survives. Everyone who survived goes into this dungeon where it's basically this alien reality TV show, and it's kind of like an RPG where people are fighting monsters and demons and weird creatures in this dungeon, and they're leveling up as they fight these creatures and they survive. Many people die, but oddly this book is very funny. The writing really doesn't take itself too seriously, and there are very funny moments in this book. But I will say, I didn't really see a lot of character development throughout this book. I thought there could have been a lot more depth to the characters. I thought our main character Carl was a little bit boring, but that being said, I do feel like there's probably significantly more character development throughout the series because it's such a long series. I think there's like 8 or 9 books currently out at the moment, but I actually did really enjoy Princess Donut. She was so funny, and I loved her as a character. I thought she was great, and I thought it was absolutely hilarious that her charisma was so high and she was just doing all the talking for the party. I just thought thought that was so funny. Yeah, I gave this 3.75 out of 5 stars. Oh, the next book. Okay, the next book I read was The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, and oh my god, this was my first 5-star book of the year. I loved it so much. It was so magical and so whimsical, and I actually did read this book when I was 13, I want to say, maybe 14. And I did not appreciate it as much as I should have when I was a child. I appreciated it so much more as a 23-year-old woman. And yeah, I really, really loved this, like so much. It basically follows a pilot who crash lands in the desert and he meets this little prince. And the prince is from an asteroid. Yeah, he basically learns about the adult world and how weird adults are. And the little prince teaches the pilot like a lot of really powerful lessons. And oh my god, this book made me cry so hard. I literally, after I finished the book, I just sat and just wept and cried. It was so good, and the writing was stunning. So yeah, loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was Skip and Loafer by Misaki Takamatsu. And this was really cute. I really liked this a lot. So it's basically about this girl, and she is from the country in Japan, and she moves to Tokyo, and she's very smart. She's kind of socially awkward, so she's trying to adjust to like how big city schoolers act, I guess. And she falls in love with this golden-haired boy, and it's just really cute. So far, not much has happened in this book, but I just think it's really adorable. I will say I did want a little bit more just out of the first volume. I wasn't like extremely hooked. I was hooked a little, but not extremely. But I will be continuing on with the series because it seems really adorable. And yeah, it just seems super cute. And I gave it 3.75 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was Kakurabachi by Takeru Hokazono. This was probably my least favorite book of the month. It wasn't necessarily bad, I just didn't really feel a lot for it. It follows a boy named Chihiro, and his dad is this like very skilled swords maker. He makes enchanted swords. One day his father is murdered and his swords get stolen, but there is one sword left that Chihiro takes, and he uses this sword to try to get revenge for his father and get these 6 other swords back. I did think this was okay, but I didn't love it. I didn't think there was a lot of depth to the story other than, oh, revenge and that kind of thing. The action sequences were really cool, but I thought the art left a little bit to be desired, if I'm being completely honest. But when the story does have detail, it's really beautiful, the art. So it was kind of inconsistent, but I did think it was fine. I just didn't really love it. So I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. And I probably won't be continuing with this series, but I can appreciate it for what it is. Oh my gosh, I love this next series so much. The next book I read was Blue Box Volumes 1 and 2 by Koji Miura. And oh my gosh, this series is so cute. I love that it blends both shoujo romance with sports. I think that's really cool. But this book basically follows a boy named Taiki, this little guy right here, and he loves badminton and he plays badminton. He's very good at it, but he does have room for improvement. And he falls in love with his upperclassman Chinatsu, this beautiful girl right here, and she plays basketball. And she's really good at basketball, and she's going to nationals, but she needs somewhere to stay while she goes to nationals. So she ends up living with Taiki, and it's hilarious because Taiki has this massive crush on her. Like, I'm talking all-consuming crush, and it's just so cute. And I love the rom-com setup of like, oh, my crush is living in my house, like, oh my gosh. But it's just really cute. I love the art. I think it's really cute and beautiful. And like I said, I love that it makes sports and romance. And yeah, really love this a lot. I think I gave the first volume 4.5 stars and then the second volume 4 stars. And I already bought volumes 3 and 4, so those will be getting read this month. But yeah, I really enjoyed these a lot. And yeah, I can't wait to continue on with the series because I feel like it's going to be a slow burn, but yeah, really excited. The next book I read was Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. Now, I read this with my friend Alex for our book club, and she gave it 3.75 stars, and initially I gave it 4 stars, but I think I want to bump it down to 3.75 as well. But I did enjoy this quite a bit. So this basically follows a boy named Hamnet, who is Shakespeare's son. You may have heard of Shakespeare, but he's also Agnes's son. He catches the Black Plague and he passes away, and that's not a spoiler. That literally says it on the first page that Hamnet does pass away. And it is a very sad book. I thought the writing was really beautiful, but I did feel like there could have been a bit more depth with the characters. I felt like Agnes was a really complex character, but I felt like Shakespeare was just kind of an asshole. Like, that was kind of all there was to his character. I feel like he wanted to be like a great playwright, but he was like an absent father, and I don't know, like, it was just like, I kind of wanted more. I kind of wanted to see more from these characters. I loved Hamnet. I thought he was such a sweet boy, and when he passed away, oh my gosh, it was so sad. It was a really beautiful exploration on grief and motherhood and that kind of thing, because Agnes is an incredible mother in my opinion. But yeah, and I really love how this book dealt with grief. I thought it was a very accurate portrayal, but I did think the ending was a bit abrupt. Like, it was like this big climactic moment, but then it just ended, you know, and I just wanted a little bit more. But yeah, did enjoy this. 3.75 out of 5 stars. All right, the next book I read was Cultish, The Language of Fanaticism by Amanda Montell. This is a nonfiction book about cults, but it's more so about how cults use language to indoctrinate followers and like the different types of language that they use. It also talks about things that aren't necessarily cults. It also talks about like marketing and MLMs and CrossFit, for example. The first half of this book was good. It actually gave what I signed up for. It talked about language, talked about actual cults, but then the second half was just kind of a critique on marketing, and that's not really what I signed up for. I don't rate nonfiction books, but I did enjoy the first half of this book, but I thought the second half fell a little bit flat. So that's how I feel about this book. The second to last book I read was Finding Me by Viola Davis. I love this book. It's so good. My second 5-star book of the year, and I will explain why. So obviously this is Viola Davis's memoir. If you don't know Viola Davis, I feel like you're kind of living under a rock, because she is such an incredible actress and she's like a huge name in our culture. So yeah, she's just amazing. And this book is all about her and her life, her triumphs, her struggles, her abuse, her torment, her successes. It was just incredible. She is such an incredible writer. Her writing is extremely descriptive, and when I was reading this book, I felt like I was living in the moment she talked about. It was so amazing. I don't know, it was just so good. Viola Davis just has so much beauty in every sense of the word. She's incredibly smart and she's super sharp, but she's also very kind and shy and just so talented. And it was so interesting to read about her story, and I found myself really relating to a lot of what she went through with her abuse and the bullying and just all different sorts of things. She also deals with pretty intense racism, being a Black woman, and yeah, it was heartbreaking. The first chapter literally made me cry, and it was so good. But what I really loved about this book is that with every moment of pain in this book, there was a moment of light, and there was a brightness to this writing that just really shone through. It was just really beautiful, and her falling in love with her husband Julius was really beautiful. Her going to Africa and just rejuvenating herself was amazing to read. There's just so much hope in this novel, and I loved it. But yeah, this is an incredible book. I would give it 5 out of 5 stars. I highly recommend it, and it is the best nonfiction book I've ever read, and there's a reason I rated it, because it was 5 stars and I had to give a 5-star book a 5-star rating. So yeah, even though I don't usually rate nonfiction books, I had to rate this one. So yes, amazing. And then the final book I read was Bad Badger, A Love Story by Mary Rose Wood. This follows a badger, and he doesn't feel like he's a very good badger. He feels like he's very different from other badgers. But one day he meets a gull, a seagull. He names her Gully, and they become friends. And it's very cute, but it didn't really give me a lot. I feel like this book kind of lacked a lot, but I did think it was very cute, and I thought the writing was good, and I thought it was very sweet. So I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars, and I did enjoy what I read. So those are all the books I read this month. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I'm going to be coming to you with another one soon, and yeah, hopefully I can get this uploaded tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.